are going to be turning this guy from Chris Freightman to Herb Curbler. Now you're probably like, wait a minute, like the next gen from Cars 3? No. So there is a book called Meet the Cars, and in that book it features a tow truck exactly like this one, but they named him Herb Curbler, and he had Piston Cup official racing decals. And that's essentially what my good friend Diecast Dungeon is going to be doing. So I will not be doing the customizing for this video. He is. It's a very simple mod, and you might be able to do it too if you follow along. Without further ado, welcome my friend Diecast Dungeon.
So right now I'm going to show you guys the process involved in actually applying the decals to the car. So right here I've printed out some decals on some clear water slide decal paper, and I'm basically just going to go in, cut these up, get these ready to fit. And I have gone ahead and I have done a couple decals. I did this one decal, and I did 2 decals on the back here. I do still need to do 1 decal here on the front, 1 here on the front, and 1 in the back. So I'm going to be applying those 3 decals and just kind of show you guys how exactly all that works. So the ones that are going to go on the front fender flares are going to be this Race Division 17, and this is going to be the one that goes on this passenger side right here. So I'm going to go ahead, cut these out, and then I'll be right back. So the decals are cut out and ready for application. As you can see, there's pretty much just like a water adhesion that's adhering the actual decal to the back right here, and this is very thin. It's probably as thin as just a regular piece of paper. So once I dunk this in the water, I just let it wait about like 45 seconds to a minute, and then the backing will start to get removed and I can just slide this on like so. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'll speed up this process just so you guys don't have to wait, and then I'll show you the application. So we have one of the decals ready here, and we're just gonna go ahead and slide it right on like so. And sometimes it's a little tricky because the backing can kind of get stuck, so you just gotta like pull it and just kind of morph it into place. Oop, this part ripped. Sometimes that might happen if the decals are like super thin, so I might have to redo this one. We'll go ahead and see. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to redo this. So this is just a good example of just showing how not everything goes according to plan. Sometimes you do got to do a couple attempts. So I'm gonna have to go in and just dunk another decal and just get that fixed. So right now we're gonna do the fender flare decals. Just slides right on like so, and then just gotta put it right in place. That's one side done. And here we go, here's the other side. So those 2 decals are set on there. The water will eventually dry, and I'm just gonna cut this decal out to redo this one since I messed up. So this decal should be ready for application. Gonna go ahead and try and slide it on. Hopefully this one doesn't rip. It's kind of hard to do this in front of the camera because usually I bring this up a little closer to myself, but just wait for it to focus. Yep, so there we go. Just gotta wait for it to now dry, and then I can go ahead and I can clear coat this. I'm back with all the parts for Chris Freightman. Decals have dried, clear coat has dried, and now we're just gonna button him back up. So if I remember correctly, I think these had to go in first. This is the, oh, actually no, maybe it was, I think it was the mirrors. And then we got the eye plate. Front wheels. This had to slide in if I remember correctly. Yeah, something like that. And then flip this over. And then, yeah, there were 2 screws for the back, I think. Does this one screw? And then the front had a rivet, which I just had to drill out. This doesn't look like it's fully clamped, though, for some reason. I think I might just have to screw it in. We can check after. Yeah, Chris's design was pretty interesting because there were like a lot of pieces, usually like, at least with the China trucks that they've done in the past, like the crew chief pickup model, the grille will be attached to the actual body itself, and the mouth plate is what's a separate piece. But it was a little different for Chris. A little too many pieces, if you ask me. Yeah, so it looks like this has to snap in? Actually, I'm not sure. I might have to take this base off again. So I eventually figured it out. Basically, this part just had to be clipped into the back bed, so I had to unscrew this and just clip this in a little tighter. Just for security, I'm going to put a drop of glue right there on the front rivet. Oh, these were from forklifts. I didn't mean to bring these over. Definitely not a part of Chris. But yeah, just put that drop of glue right there. There we go. And that is pretty much Chris Freightman. So to do this Cars 3 custom, whatever you want to call it. I know the original name for him was Herb Curbler. Obviously, that seemed to be incorrect. Point being, whatever you want to call him, this was a pretty simple custom. Just you got to make decals. I had used these decals I made actually just using Google Docs. It was very simple. This was a photo I took from Stu Scattershields, and I basically just, you know, printed on the decal paper. This I just typed up. It's not going to let me focus probably, but it just says Race Division 17. I'm sure Piston Cup Productions will show this in much better detail. But yeah, it was pretty simple overall, and this was definitely a fun one to make because they never did it, obviously, so hopefully they do it in the future, but for now, this will definitely do.
Now, when it comes to Herb Curbler, aka Chris Freightman, there's not a whole lot to say, but here we finally have the custom created by Joe. But let's quickly go ahead and unbox this guy. I mean, it was already unboxed, but you know what I mean. So, he did a phenomenal job with the customs. They are, I mean, super delicate to put on, but he pulled it off. Now the Chris Freightman Mattel gave us looks naked. I mean, the decals just really make a difference. Obviously, this is the Cars 3 version in my headcanon, and this is the on-the-road one because, honestly, I would have preferred getting this as a release over this one because On the Road has a plethora of repaints of previous renders of characters, if that makes sense, from other Cars projects. And Chris Freightman is no exception. You have the Race Division number 17 logo, the 17 Rescue, and the Race Fire and Rescue at the back. Everything else is exactly the same, but it still looks fantastic nonetheless. It just looks really, really good. I'm a fan of it. I love it. He did amazing. Everything else remains the same as like expressions. And that pretty much wraps it off here, folks. Let me know if you'll be creating a custom like this. As always, do it with adult supervision if you're on the younger side. You shouldn't even be watching if you're on the younger side. But maybe for 13, you still need adult supervision. Yeah, that's recommendable. Anywho, Piston Cup Productions signing out, and I will see you guys next time.